Okay. So a few years ago, I had sculpted an action figure and created an action figure for my friend Fred. And after looking at it, I was like, you know what? I can do better than that. So I started redoing it, and I've been hitting uh, roadblocks, issues for a while. So I'm thinking, you know what? Let me redo this thing. So that's what I'm doing. So, hence the Fred sculpting. But a little pun there. Didn't say it was a good pun, just a pun. Okay, where did I put my other thing yet? I have to use this guy. Yeah, I should have gotten all this stuff together beforehand, but that would have been required some intelligence and some forethought, which most of the time I don't have. Oh well. Okay, let's see here. So one of the things that I decided to do with this one was to utilize these porcelain eyeballs. Now, after doing this a few times, I've realized that one of the things that's necessary is to make sure you're starting off with your model and everything's kind of squared off. So I have my picture sources on the. I should probably figure out how to do this with doing the whole multiple window thingy and all that stuff. I'll need some practice with. Let's see. Pictures. Fred. Where'd you go? Oh, F comes after E. Okay. So I took all of my source photos. Now, one thing that you notice with this is like that the eyes are not always, very rarely, are symmetrical. And in this case, my friend Fred, his left eye is a little bit lower than his right eye. Which is very hard to see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out here, 38 there, measure out here like this, till the head's like right about there. Okay, then I turn it sideways, and I go right there. So the irises in the eyeballs are 11 millimeters apart. Look at that. Sometimes I'm pretty good. I put the little mark there, right where I thought it should be, and there we are, right at 11 millimeters. I pat myself on the back, metaphorically. Okay, so this one has to be a little bit lower, so I'm going to drop this guy to about here. Okay, I have to dig out a little bit more of the clay, just a little bit. So, drop you there, a little bit on the side, okay. Right there. Put that together like that. Putting back in space for a second. You people can all stare at the horror of the Alex Kurtzman victim. Yeah, because he likes to rip out eyeballs and stuff. Oh, there they are. Okay, I think we're going to go with a little hoop here. Now I'm going to have a problem when I finish up my diorama base back here because half the time I use it to temporarily store things on. Okay, so we need to push this in a little bit. I think I'll go with the large stylus. Push in like that. Push in like that. So what I'm trying to do is set where I'm going to center the ball as I push it through. Here's the item number here if you're interested. Oh, I got to figure out how to do this thing so it's not backwards in the camera. If anybody knows how to do that and then could let me know, I'd really appreciate it. This is this company, Mooresmore, that has these little teeny tiny 6mm porcelain eyeballs, which works really good when you're doing it because you can pop them in. When you cure it in the oven, they don't get damaged. All right, now I'm going to take this rivet set because it's got this little round thing on it, and I'm going to use this to push it back into place like that. Fred looks very angry here. Okay. All right, so we got that part done. So I can put the eyeballs away because I'm not putting any more eyeballs on his head. And I can put this away because I'm not putting any more eyeballs on his head. And I can take that out. A little thing here that I roll that clay with because we're going to start working on eyelids. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I want to take a look at the head sculpt and move it around a little bit. And I'm going to measure this against some of my photo sources to see how accurate it looks. Okay, so the first thing I'm noticing is like the jawline is a little wide on the face because I really want to get the basic shape down as much as I can before I start adding detail. It's really annoying when you get a whole bunch of things done, you realize that you messed up some of the basics. Hey, where's my coffee? Where's my coffee? The world functions better with coffee. Just a fact. Okay. Let's see here. Hold this up there. Okay, not bad. I'm going to have to pull these back a little bit, like the edges around here that way. Okay, hold it up again. Okay, he's going to need a little bit of clay right here on the cheeks. So flatten that. I'm going to take this guy and kind of roll him out a little bit. Roll another one, just like the other one. Okay, that's going to go right there. Now I'm going to blend that in a little bit with this guy. I like this because it's kind of flat and uniform. Chip away a little bit there. It allows me to change my angle a little bit. Okay, it's a little more fleshed out. And it's closer, still not quite where I want it, but everything else is like, I need a little bit more right in this area here. So what I'm going to do is cut like a little triangle, just like that. And pop him right there. Okay, now I want something a little flatter and smoother. You know what? I think I'll try this first. I'll use this guy here. Pull down a little bit that way. Now, fortunately, I'm very familiar with Fred's face. Fred and I have trained together for almost 40 years. And so I'm used to seeing him every single week for, probably 4 to 5 hours. But it's funny that because you just get so used to seeing people that you're familiar with, and you kind of ignore like all the details. Like you just sort of see people and you take for granted like the details of their face. But as an artist, there's a problem with having so many sculpting tools. I know which one I'm looking for, and there you are. See, whenever I jinx myself and I tell myself I'm not going to find it, that's when I find it. So I guess I intentionally jinx myself as a training aid. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is kind of push this clay in here around the eye. I think what I'm going to do is give myself a thin little roll here like this. Take my knife, just kind of cut it right there. Oops. Somebody should take a poll sometime, find out how many X-Acto knives artists own. Because I have probably about like 8 of them. Not that I can find them most of the time. there's a strong possibility my daughter steals them because she's also an artist. Genetics. Which is strange because neither one of my parents were artistic. Now this is just to really secure that eyeball in place and give me something that I can build off of as I work my way through. Here I have about 25 minutes, maybe 35 minutes to work on this. Just typically, because my schedule is what it is, I have to find the opportunities I can to work on this stuff when I can. Sometimes it's only 20 minutes, sometimes it's an hour, sometimes I can stretch it out to about like 3 or 4 hours. That's usually in the middle of the night when I'm like completely exhausted, which is okay because I remember when I was applying to art schools, which back then in the 80s, or I really didn't think too many of these things through. I probably could have gotten some kind of a scholarship, but I didn't know how it all worked. My father had went to college in the 40s, so by the time he got around to it, things were very, very different compared to when he went. And my mother never went to college, so we didn't know a whole lot. And we were pretty dysfunctional, so. But I digress. Shocking. The ADD guy digresses. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, we're going to start with the bottom eyelid. And we do the bottom eyelid first because the top eyelid sits over top of the bottom eyelid. Therefore, it seems like a good idea to do the bottom eyelid first. So if I flatten this out a little bit more, we're going to go like this. And gently pick that up like that. Okay. Lay this across right here. Now I'm going to take this thing, push it to here, move this way. And there is the beginning of Fred's lower eyelid. Of course, I want to make sure that this isn't too thick. I can't wait to tell Fred that he's a subject of a live stream, which is pretty funny because he's a really private guy. I'm like, what? He's pretty quiet. Just kind of does his own thing. Or one time he got mad at me because I was teaching a class and I'm trying to get him to take a more active role, and like he's just like, no, I'm good, just stepping out doing my own thing. And it's like, dude, you're gonna pick up on so much more if you have to like explain it to somebody. You're gonna realize just how much stuff you know. Yeah, I know. So one day we're in class, and I was like, guys, I'll be right back. Fred, you're in charge. He's like, what? So I went upstairs and had like half a cup of coffee. He came back down. He was a little upset with me at first, but afterwards he was like, you know what, you're right. Maybe we have all this stuff in common, like all the nerdy stuff. I'm a little bit more of a Star Wars fan. He's sort of like stuck in the middle between Marvel and DC. Um, he hasn't really taken the plunge on action figures yet, although the big test will be when um, Black Adam comes out. One of the sneaky reasons I made this for him was like, I know he will enjoy it. Just a matter of getting him to own one. So it's like, wow, that's cool. I like to envision a shelf full of action figures that Fred would have, because he's a much bigger DC fan than I am. But I like to think about what the ultimate DC action figure shelf would look like. And for me, with my taste, I would have Ben Affleck Batman. I would have Christopher Reeve Superman. As much as I love Henry Cavill, um, I think Christopher Reeve just did such a perfect job um, portraying the character. And that's the beauty of like collectibles, is that in a movie you can't, well, at least not yet, we can't put a Ben Affleck Batman. Why is this not focusing? Mm-hmm. There we go. Ooh, he looks really insane there. You can't really put in a uh, Ben Affleck and Christopher Reeve in a movie together yet. I'm sure at some point we'll be able to, and it'll really stink because it won't be actual performances. It'll be someone else's idea of their performance, which will kind of stink. But for action scenes and stuff like that, that would be pretty cool. At some point with these copyright laws, as the copyrights expire, and fans get their opportunities to create their favorite materials, I think entertainment will skyrocket to heights that no one imagined. I mean, one thing's for sure: you probably won't get anything worse than the studios are putting out. Where's my knife? No, I don't want a knife. I want. Can I have it? Can I have your magic buzz? My apologies to anyone who catches up on this thing and realizes that, man, this guy is like massively ADD. In the middle of making some point and starts singing the Who. Because I'm looking for a certain tool to maybe think of the magic bus. I wish I'd seen them in concert. Opportunity might yet present itself, which would be kind of cool. It's like both of them, Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey. Okay. Now, Fred's left eye comes up a little bit more like this. It's a little straighter across, but still drops down on the edge. So the inside is a little bit higher than the outside. Okay, magic buzz. Can have it. Okay. Thank you, driver, for getting me here. I'm sorry, I shouldn't do that. My singing is abysmal. It's pretty bad when even my kids would tell me, Daddy, stop singing. Like, is it that bad? Yes. Oops. Sorry. So my daughter would always try to like save my feelings a little bit. My son, just brutally honest. No, it's just, yeah, it's bad. Don't do it. Okay. Okay. I really like using these porcelain balls for the eyes because it doesn't move. If this were clay, I would have to work my way in there a little bit and worry about flattening the eye. Okay, yeah, now this side here, the jaw is way out of whack. Or is it this side's too thin? I think this side's actually too thin. Let me take a look at my source here. It's actually somewhere right in the middle of both of them. Okay. Now, I am going to need this a little less than that. Let's say about this much. Pop you on right there. Thank you for Jimmy. Good idea. More coffee. We'll go with this one here. It's a little bit shorter on the arm there. Pull this through here. There we go. Okay, so this side, the cheekbone is nowhere near as big as this one. So I'm going to have to, let's see, flesh out. Okay, so I need a little bit here. And this is going to drop back about here. Okay. I will be probably doing about, I'm going to say probably about 15 hours this week sculpting because I have so many projects waiting to get done. And then I will be on Comics Division's Thursday Night Throwdown this week, talking about sculpting and action figures, which, if everything goes right, Mr. Comics Division himself may have a package to open before that Thursday night show. Hopefully it works. Okay, we are getting there. Okay, so I'm noticing that the left eye looks a lot wider than the right eye. So I think it has to do with how much of the eyelid are covered up. Let's put it to a vote. Yes, the ayes have it. But bump. Boo! That was awful. Okay, I'm going to take my eyes away from the eyes for a minute, and I want to check out the corners of the lips, which should go to about here. Okay, so I think I need to move the mouth out to about here on that side, and to about here on this side. I have no idea how I sound on this microphone. The other day it was a kind of crappy. Ooh, my silicone will be here next week, which is good. I tried out a new kind of silicone last week at the recommendation of my friend Gary Ambrosia, who's been working with all this kind of stuff for longer than I have, and gotten some tutelage from special effects prop professionals. And I gotta say, like the difference in quality of the stuff I was using and this stuff is pretty significant. And the price, it is more expensive than the other stuff, but not exorbitantly so. It's maybe about $10 or $12 more, and it's free shipping. I've been buying my silicone off of Amazon, and the last couple of deliveries I was sent, there was a limited shelf life for the material. So when I went to use it, it wasn't pouring out. It had kind of like the consistency of a yogurt, a very thick yogurt, and which is not good because you need low viscosity with your silicone so you can get into all the little details. This sculpture was driving me crazy. I would make a whole bunch of progress on it, and I'd put it up for a little while, and then I'd go back and look at it and like, no, that's completely wrong. And then I would try to fix that thing, which would throw something else off. I'm like, and I have to say that the eyes, those porcelain eyes, I think really make a huge difference in your sculpture. Okay, let's see here. Okay. This here. Here. need an energy drink. Which I have some. Kind of. None of the Red Bull or anything like that. Just a little bit healthier. But they all taste like crap. So having this conversation with my daughter the other day because she goes to the gym and works out, and we're talking about energy drinks, and she did the obstacle course race with me this week, and like she usually does, and we had Gatorade. The weather was really good as well. It was about 80, 83 degrees maybe, low humidity. Perfect weather for such an event. And we were discussing Gatorade. I said, I remember when Gatorade first came out. I think the first thing I ever tried from that was Gator gum. It had like a little citrus bursts and stuff inside there, giving you some of the electrolytes in the gum form. It was revolutionary at the time. Now everybody's got an exercise drink. I'm going to do there we go, that's better. Okay. That's curving up a lot. I gotta push that down a bit. I was saying how I have to fix this mirror image thing that's going on the screen. To tell you the truth, I kind of like it sometimes because when I look at something, it's not looking the way that I see it. Here we go, Mr. Anderson. If I can figure out how to do that other thing where you get the screen capture and you can do your screen and another screen, and I can kind of put the source photos up next to the sculpture, you'll probably be able to see a real-time comparison between the model and the sculpture, which would be pretty cool. Okay, set this down for just a second. I gotta step away for just a moment. Be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. Okay. All right, this side here. I think what I need very, very, very thin. Thinner, 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 thinner. Okay, my knife. Cut, push this out of the way. Roll, roll, roll. Okay. I'll be right there. And take this guy. Add to that bottom eyelid. Just a touch. Get over there. There we go. Okay, so we're going to need to work on the symmetry here and here. I'm going to have to work on this. Kind of goes back slanting more like that, and this more round here. I think right here, this is my problem area. I will change the shape of the jawline. Which probably comes from me touching it. There's little bits of pressure really change your details in the sculpture. All right. I am going to check my measurements. Right. Oh, what the heck happened? Okay. Right there. Now, I need to calculate 7 millimeters. Okay, so bottom of the chin needs to go about there. Trim that off a little bit. And the bottom lip. Okay. It's more pronounced here. So I think I'm going to have to do is put this here. Like so. Take this. There. Okay. I think that's going to be our wrap for now. I will come back and do some more of this later tonight because I've got a lot more to get done. I definitely have more on this side too. So I'm going to mark off here. I have to take the knife and just sort of trim back a little bit on that side. Okay. Anybody who catches this, thanks for watching.